Hey everybody, it's Informed and Confused. I'm Alan.
And I'm Bobby.
Today we are doing two things. First, we're going to do the first World of Remnant video, which I told you about, which are
The shorts.
the
shorter.
info
Yeah.
episodes that kind of flesh out the world a little, clarify some stuff. We're going to be doing the one on dust. Did I say dust? Yep, dust. And then we are going to be doing Volume 2, Episode 5, Extracurricular. So, which, again, another one of my favorite fight sequences in this episode. There's just a lot of that in Volume 2. All right, so we will go ahead and get started with this.
All right, here we go.
Dust. By definition, it is a naturally occurring energy propellant that can be triggered by the aura of humans and faunas. But in reality, it is much, much more. Found in 4 basic forms, dust can be combined, both artificially and naturally, to form new, stronger types, each with unique properties. Since its discovery, man has concocted a multitude of ways in which to harness the powers of these mysterious crystals. From airships to androids, dust has made its way into practically every facet of technology. Some prefer to use dust in its raw form, elegant yet destructive. Those who choose to wield dust in this state must possess a certain level of discipline to ensure that their resulting powers do not break free from their control.
Cinder, I assume, uses...
Dust ammunition serves
Red.
as a more practical application in today's modern society. With the technological advancements in weapon design, warriors need simply choose the right cartridge for the job and pull the trigger. While this has become the standard method of use, it is not uncommon to find individuals still practicing more archaic forms of dust manipulation, such as weaving it into clothing, or even fusing it directly with their own bodies. Despite working, fighting, and even turning a profit with it, humanity has still yet to understand how dust came to be. And more importantly, how their involvement with dust will ultimately change the world of Remnant.
And that's it. Just a quick little...
Hell of a lot of info there, though.
Right? It was almost like the kind of, like, tour of a museum or, like, a...
And it hopefully should answer a few of the questions that are posited thus far.
It actually didn't answer any of my questions. It actually gave me more questions, and...
Which is still a good thing.
Yeah, now, I want to know more about putting dust into clothing.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a thing.
And the fusing dust with yourself, that sounds like Cinder. And Mercury.
What makes you think that about those two? Like, why do they seem like ones that would do something like that?
They're both extremely reserved. And by reserved, I mean like... who's the girl with the green hair?
Emerald.
Emerald is the first to do the talking. She's more of a face. Whereas Mercury is immediately, generally to her right, just behind her?
They're together. I don't think they're ever on one side or the other of each other, but...
Not regularly.
I would say
regularly,
whereas she is the charisma, he is the muscle behind it. Like
they definitely play those elements.
Yeah, and because of that, I would assume that with a name like Mercury, I don't assume Mercury is his given name.
What's his first?
Well,
His
with
full name,
all of the other names,
his full
why
name,
not?
His full name is Mercury Black.
Oh, so it's not like a
It's
pseudo
just his
or a-
name.
Yeah,
It's not
Mercury
a-
Oh,
Black
okay.
Emeralds is Emerald Sistri.
Okay. Well, then I'm just talking out a hole in my ass. I have no idea.
Yeah, but a couple things I'll point out. What did I have a note on? You mentioned talking about the raw dust use. There is one person we have confirmed seeing use raw dust, and that is Glinda. In the very first episode where she creates like the ice storm and
Yeah.
that is her using raw dust.
Really?
Yeah, it's,
I didn't
it's not
catch that
really,
at all.
It's not.
Yeah, I hadn't
Spoiler.
even caught that before.
Because she's not using a weapon or anything. I mean, she's got a riding crop, but that doesn't, like, actually.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Well, I don't exactly
doesn't turn
know
into a
much,
gun, so it
know
doesn't
enough
count.
about Glenda and the way she fights. Her riding crop could be like
And
Ozpin's
actually,
cane.
depending,
could be her weapon.
depending on how you define it, because I think she might, the riding crate might have like a compartment that holds dust or something. It depending on how you define using raw dust, even Weiss could eventually, I think, eventually does stuff that could be defined as using raw dust. I don't think she's done it yet, but we'll analyze whether or not you consider that to be that when it happens, but later on. But yeah, no, Glinda, because that's it. Basically, anytime I see it as anytime you're using dust where it's not like in a prepackaged cartridge or something like that, where it's just, no, here's a handful of dust, trigger it, you know, and control the resulting event that occurs from it. That's raw dust used. You're taking, it's like taking a thing of TNT in your hand and lighting it, or just taking a jar full of nitroglycerin and just shaking it, sparking, something like that, right?
Right.
There's no control. There's very limited control, since like they say, since dust it's triggered by the aura of humans or faunas, right? Which means if they project their aura into the dust,
Yeah, it's a trigger.
it reacts to the aura and ignites.
Yeah.
So
Well, and the raw stuff is even more volatile and sometimes
Yeah.
just reacts to people's auras if they get too close. That's
yeah,
why
it works
mining
no
it
matter
is so
the more
dangerous.
intense aura energy you put into it, the more intense the reaction necessarily. So that's how you would have a level of control over raw dust. Would be
That would
exactly-
also explain why cave-ins are even more dangerous, because everybody's instinct is to protect yourself. So you throw up your aura hardcore to make sure that the rocks falling down on you don't hurt you.
And then
Well,
they go kaboom.
Those rocks are
potentially
filled
go
with
kaboom,
ore.
Yeah.
God, that's
So.
Jesus.
Yeah, of course, in that scenario, if you didn't throw up an aura to begin with, you still have giant rocks falling on you, and you just die being crushed. So,
But your instinct is to
yeah.
flinch and oof.
yeah. The other thing that's not entirely self-evident is they show you the 4 basic types, and they don't spell it out here, but the 4 basic types are
Earth, fire,
earth, dust,
electric.
earth, fire or burn, wind, and water.
I thought electric was one of the ones that was.
Nope, electric is not a base type.
Okay.
Electric is
Yeah, they talk about
I'm
how
trying to
you
remember.
then take those 4 elements, combine them together to get all of the other.
I
dust
forget how you make
types, so-
electric. Because like you take wind and water dust, and that produces ice dust.
Maybe
or,
wind and earth, storm, electricity into the ground. I don't know.
I would say fire and water make steam, or fire and water. Does fire and water make clouds or steam or air?
I don't know if there's actually steam dust. I know I've seen people use dust to make steam.
What about fire and air?
I don't know how much has actually been spelled out by Rooster Teeth
All right,
themselves.
this is
and how
another
much
one of
is
the things
just
where-
guessed by the fan base.
Yeah, this is another one of those where I'm kind of at a disadvantage because there's a thing somebody put on Ruby Amino once where they laid out like this entire thing and theory of how the dust types interact and where each of them comes from or whatever, and it was just bloody brilliant. And I've gone back to it over and over again, and I think I've kind of contaminated myself to thinking that's how it works, even though that's not what's been spelled out in the show. So,
That's fair.
yeah.
I've played a few games like that. They're like sandbox games where you have to figure out how to build a world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, realistically, it's not something they go into a lot. Like, you don't see people, talking about producing dust and, how dust is made or whatever. It's not something they really go into, which is why I think that just,
It just is.
yeah, it just is. I mean, all you need to know is there's like the 4 basic types. They can combine them by doing either combining them or manipulating them. Like, I think, again, it's a fan theory, but a fan thing, at least I think it's only a fan thing. Gravity dust is created by taking earth dust and using compression. You compress it, you apply pressure enough, and it becomes gravity dust.
Gravity diamonds, as it were.
Yeah, which is, kind of makes sense. You increase the density high enough, it reacts and it becomes gravity
And changes.
dust.
Okay, then I would say it's probably something like if you can get water, air, and gravity dust, or pressure of some kind, then you could probably get electricity.
Could be any number of ways to get it.
Yeah, and we will go over the various. We'll see different types as we go along. One I'll bring up because again, it's not as of yet is not in the show. They put it in a reference book. We don't even know. We've never even seen it do anything. There is such a thing as plant dust, apparently. Plant dust.
Yeah,
There's no.
there is.
There's no. Always back to the drugs. No. But yeah, like that's something that it's in the reference book that plant dust is a type of dust. No idea what it does. No idea where it comes from.
Haven't seen it
Don't
on
know what
screen
it,
before.
Don't know what it looks
but it's
like.
There. It exists.
It is confirmed that there is something called plant dust. I assume we'll see it at some point, but yeah, that's all I really had for that one.
Yeah.
It's just, mostly that's just for that one's just for like if you're somebody who's watching this, or like if you're binging or whatever, and you're just not picking up on a lot of the details.
Yeah.
There's a lot of this stuff, especially if you're not discussing it with people. Some of this stuff is kind of scattered. It's not all explained in one nice little
Well,
block.
it gives a nice insight into, like, okay, well, if this is so important, how? Like, what do they use it for? And the fact that they covered all their bases. It's kind of like, hi, welcome to the world of, dust.
Yeah,
World
because
of Remnant.
Just
Yeah.
like we've established, there's electric or lightning-based dust. Well, that's how they get power. They don't burn fossil fuels. They use dust for that. So anything that uses power in the world, that uses dust. Anything that uses any sort of explosive uses dust. Gravity dust is widely used, although like, the ships that fly without any sort of producing
Cool
of lift.
military ships are
Yeah.
all run by gravity dust or anti-gravity dust.
Yeah, gravity dust it powers anything that's floating when it's not like clearly using wings or whatever. Gravity dust.
Yep.
So their entire form of air travel is entirely based on gravity dust. Everything is based on gravity dust. So, and there are other types presumably used in actual just manufacturing process
Right.
of various
Yeah,
things.
they were pretty extensive in the video.
Yeah. So, all right. With that, let's move on to episode 5.
style entrance.
And that's the match.
Ooh, lucky shot.
Well done, Miss Nikos. You should have no problem qualifying for the tournament.
Thank you, Professor.
All right. Now I know that's a tough act to follow, but we have time for one more sparring match. Any volunteers? Miss Belladonna? You've been rather docile for the past few classes. Why don't you...
I'll do it.
Mercury, is it?
He's been busy taking
Very
a
well.
cat nap.
Let's find you an opponent.
Actually, I wanna fight
You. Oh.
her.
Me?
I'm afraid Miss Nikos has just finished a match. I recommend you choose another partner.
No, it's fine. I'd be happy to oblige.
Hey, your friend's doing pretty good.
I forfeit.
You don't even want to try?
What's the point? You're a world-renowned fighter. We're obviously leagues apart.
In that case, Pira Nikos is the victor
Oh,
of the
I
match.
see what he did.
Again.
Dirty pool.
Next time you may want to think a little harder before choosing an opponent.
I'll be sure to do that.
That is all for today. And remember, the dance is this weekend, but you all have your first mission on Monday. I will not
He was
accept
assessing her
any
power
issues.
levels and figured out her power because he knew he should have landed at least contact on the shield. Huh.
Learning is so much fun.
Hey, Blake, you, doing okay?
I'm fine.
So I hear there's this dance going on this weekend. That sounds pretty lame, but you and me, I'm thinking, not as lame, huh?
What?
The dance this weekend. You want to go or what?
I don't have time for a stupid
She looks
dance.
miserable.
Not you, of all people, would get that.
You what? We want you to go to the dance.
That's ridiculous. Blake, we're worried about you. This investigation is starting to mess with your head.
You can't sleep, you hardly eat, and to be honest, your grades have been suffering.
You think I care about grades? People's lives are at stake. We know, and we're all
Oh.
still trying to figure out what Torchwick is up to.
Is your audio
Thanks to
cut
you
out?
and Son,
Yep, just
we know
Mine
they're
did too,
operating
yeah.
somewhere outside of Southeast Vale. And the Schnee Company record singled out Vale as the primary target for dust robberies over the last few months.
Don't forget about their missing military tech, too. But there are still unanswered questions.
Blake, you won't be able to find anything if you can't even keep your eyes open.
All we're asking is that you take it easy for one day.
It will be fun. Yang and I will make sure of it.
Yeah, we're planning the whole event.
Excuse me? Team Coffee's away mission lasted longer than expected.
So Weiss and I were asked to pick up where they left off. And now we can make sure you have the perfect night.
And once it's all over, we'll return to our search, rested and ready. So what do you think?
I think this is a colossal waste of time.
Aw, that's a yes. She's just not ready to be open about it yet, guys.
I'll be in the library.
Give her time. Anxiety is hard.
Great.
She can't keep going like this.
This episode.
Oh, come on.
Does she end up with him?
Open the door. I promise not to sing.
She ends up with him.
I lied. Why, Shani, will you accompany me to the dance on Sunday?
Are you done?
Yes?
No.
That's a bitch move.
What?
And that is why they call you the Ice Queen.
All my life, boys have only cared about the perks of my last name. Besides, I already have a date in mind. Date or no date, none of this will matter if we can't get Blake to go.
Well done. Your sword play's improved immensely.
Couldn't have done it without you.
So, are
Or
you
in
ready
her
to move
world,
on to
his
Aura?
foreplay.
I'm actually thinking maybe we just skip Aura tonight. Might go on a jog or something.
Come on. I know you get frustrated, but you must keep trying. I'm sure we'll discover your semblance any day now.
That's not it. It's just... It's dumb.
What is it?
Does she have a genuine thing for him?
John, you know you can tell me.
Ah.
It's Weiss.
Oh. What about her?
I asked her to the dance and she shot me down. Big surprise, right?
Well, I believe the saying goes, there's plenty of fish in the sea.
Read the signals, man.
That's easy.
Read the signals.
Probably got guys clamoring over each other just to ask you out.
You'd be surprised.
They're all too intimidated.
Oh, please. If you don't get a date to the dance, I'll wear a dress.
She's like, oh shit, my date's gonna wear a dress. Do I wear a tux?
And finally, Pyrrha Nikos. Ah, the invincible girl.
She's smart. But I wouldn't say invincible.
Do tell. Her semblance is polarity, but you'd never know just by watching.
After she made contact with my boots, she was able to move them around however she wanted. But she only made slight adjustments.
Just enough to make it look like she's untouchable. She doesn't broadcast her power, so it puts her opponents at a disadvantage. People assume she's fated for victory, when she's really taken fate into her own hands. Interesting. add her to the list.
You should be able to take her no problem.
It's not
They're
about
they're
overpowering
rearranging
anything.
her
It's about taking away what power
what do
they
they
have.
call it?
And we will. In time.
What do they call it when they set when you set a bunch of people up to see who the first is
Don't worry, Mercury. We have a fun weekend ahead of us.
in a tournament? What do they call that?
Roster?
Roster. Thank you.
Roster and what?
In the tournament, they're pre-setting up her roster.
She said add her to the list. She added her to some sort of list.
Yeah, I think it's going to be they're pre-selecting her roster for who she competes with in the competition. The list of people I fight.
Interesting. All right. Let's see. Started this one out with, as mentioned before, one of my favorite person-on-person fights. Pyrrha beating the living crap out of all of Team Cardinal simultaneously.
Yep.
Which is, you just imagine they're all still pissy. Cardin's still pissy about the whole
Everything in the woods.
Everything in the woods, which was a reaction to her making one snarky comment in class. So it's like, all right, I'm going to have my whole team fight her. We'll just gang up on her. And she just wipes the floor with all of them, which is just great. But
I really like how she adapts the cuts in her shield are traditionally used for spears and polearms, but she adapts it for her rifle as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And also, I think we started to use, I think this is the first time we've seen her use her weapon in all three forms.
No.
No.
Is it?
No,
Fight in
she's
the
used
woods,
it
she
before.
does.
Sword,
She's used
and
them
throws
all
a spear,
before.
shoots a gun. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wasn't sure if we'd seen the full spear form.
Yeah.
Yes, yes,
Well, she's shown the short spear, the spear that she throws, and then when she extends it that one extra time.
It's a javelin. I mean, a javelin, a type of short spear that has a Greek name that I can't pronounce, and then the gun, the rifle.
I thought she also had a sword.
No, it's that like short spear kind of.
It's kind of a mix between a spear
Yeah,
and
it's
a
got a
sword.
Greek. There's a formal name for that type of weapon. Again,
I
it's got
forget
some
what
sort of
it is
Greek
right
name
now.
That I can't pronounce. It's got like X's in it or something, but I think. So, anyways, so yeah, we started out with the cool fight, and then you kind of called it. Mercury challenges her to the fight, and fights her until he notices her using her semblance.
Yep.
And then stops, because that's all he wanted, was just to find that information out, looked like. And then we move on to the Blake stuff, where she is very clearly in bad shape.
Mm-hmm.
Kitty's got some bags under her eyes.
Yeah, falling asleep in class. And the others are trying to tell her to just chill the hell out, and she's like, nope. This has to be done. We have to do this. Nothing else matters.
There is no chill, only Zool.
They try to get her to the dance. We find out Weiss and Yang are the ones planning the entire dance because Team Coffee is
They were busy. Still
elsewhere
on a mission.
on a mission. And then Jean shows up. With,
As he so often does.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a dance, so I really his antics. I expect
They fit.
I mean, yeah, he's been trying to. It makes sense. He's trying to do this.
I'm foreshadowing the whole. They're both going to show up to the dance, and he's going to see her, the Achilles.
Pyrrha.
He's going to see Pyrrha in a dress and go, oh, "Wow." Have you seen Weiss?
Yeah.
Like he's going to oogle over her dress, go, "You look great. You look amazing."
By the way, have you seen Weiss?
Yeah. So that whole cliche.
Yep. And then
It wouldn't be out of character for him.
And then I would also say that at some point, either as I'm so sorry, I'm dense and I didn't realize that you were there all along, or he's gonna piss her off, break her heart, and show up in a dress at some point as an apology.
Yeah. But yeah, so he gets shut down again. Yang finally shoves the Ice Queen thing back in her face. And that's why everybody calls you the Ice Queen.
Yep.
Well, sometimes
Right
you
there.
need somebody to actually explain it to you.
Yeah. Which, and to a degree, it makes a little bit of sense because she's right. I mean, she has a point. If you know, you're someone like her who's well known, you're rich, you have to be wary of people. You know, does somebody want to like me because I'm the rich girl and they just want my money, or do they actually like me? And
Right.
that's you know, that would make you hesitant anytime somebody just starts falling all over you when they barely know you.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that he's gone into battle with you. Pfft, what?
Well, because he
What?
started.
He's been this way, though, since the minute they met.
Yeah, the first thing.
But this is how many months later?
Well,
A
presumably,
semester.
yeah, but he just keeps doing it. He keeps hitting on her. And,
Whereas,
been
Neptune
pretty
hits
steady.
on everyone who...
well, she likes Neptune. That's the difference.
Yeah.
Neptune showed up and she's like, "Dang, he's hot." So clearly, she doesn't feel that way about John. So,
Right, well, I'm not saying that she has to. I'm saying she's getting the Ice Queen title because even though Jean's consistent with his feelings, there's a level of respect that is being
Ignored.
ignored.
true, but I would say on both levels though, because at what point has Jean actually tried to explain his feelings? He hasn't. At this
He
point,
is-
it's been
he-
all
I-
cheap pickup lines and just nagging her about it. He hasn't actually just stopped and said, "Can we have a conversation and just lay out, how he feels or whatever, and treat it like a serious matter?" He keeps just throwing shtick at her.
He
Because
could have also
as a-
accepted no as an answer the first, 50
Because
times.
Yeah.
as a somebody who, hey, look, I got hand-me-down gear and I had to cheat into this school. Oh my God, she comes for money. She probably wants stuff and things. That's how you woo a girl who comes for money.
Well, I mean, he's not even offering her things.
He doesn't have
He's
things to
offering-
offer, so he does things like, hey, I'm going to act like what I think rich guys act like. I'm going to sing
I mean,
you a
first
song.
he tried to act all macho and like he was the shit, which he ain't, and he wasn't. It didn't work. Then he's just straight up nagging her, saying, "Maybe we can go out. Want to go out? Want to go out? Want to go out? Or we can do this or this or this or this or this? Huh? Right? There was that in the classroom, and now he's trying cheap gimmick. He's down to cheap gimmick.
I'm not
So-
saying that he's my favorite.
Well, no, I'm just you were giving Weiss a little bit of flack for her reaction to him. So, and admittedly, she could handle it
just
nicer.
just the Ice Queen, like
Yeah.
the tone in which she says no.
Well, yeah, I mean, tonally, yeah, she could. She could do better. Of
She could do
shooting
less
him
Ice
down.
Queen.
Yeah, she could be less Ice Queen. She could be if Pyrrha or even Yang
Like,
were
no,
trying to
thank you.
were trying to shoot somebody down, they would not do it in the way Weiss does.
Right. I'm not
Absolutely.
saying don't stand your ground. I'm not saying collapse under pressure by no means. I'm just like, no, slam.
There are other ways
yeah.
of doing that.
Yeah.
Though at this point, I think part of it is she's just tired of it. I think it's just been going on and on and on and on and on and on and on. And it's like, because you saw at first she just closed the door in his face right off the bat, and he's like, "I promised not to sing. All right, I'm just trying. I'll just have a conversation." And then I lied. At which point she's totally entitled to slamming the door in his face again because
And she does actually listen to him and hear him out until he's done, and then she says no and slams the door.
in his face. Yeah. So. Yeah, bottom line, it fits both of their characters in what they're doing. That is entirely how you would expect that interaction to go up to this point. But then we see Jean and Pyrrha up on the roof fighting, which we established in Volume 1 that they were going to start doing that.
Yeah.
We never actually.
Sparring on the regular and aura training.
Yep. And he decides to use her as a shoulder to cry on, talking about the thing with Weiss, and she drops the hints And he's just oblivious.
Well, yeah, because he's still in that stage, though, where he's just getting comfortable opening up to her to begin with. He's at that point where he doesn't realize that the trust that he feels and the intimacy that he's expressing is the same thing that he wants in a relationship.
Oh.
He's also hyper-focused on Weiss.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
And
true.
John is just generally oblivious. That's also just kind of a character trait. But when
It's
it
that
comes to
naive,
stuff like this,
good-natured farm boy style personality.
What I want to know is, what does Mira?
Nora.
What does Nora see in Jean?
What do you mean, Nora?
Or red-haired chick. I never remember her
Oh,
name.
Pyrrha.
Pyrrha. What does Pyrrha see in Jean? He's goofy.
I mean, she seemed to like him right off the bat.
Right.
Whatever it
so
is.
it's almost like they're the same type of fixation.
So
A little bit. She has kind of latched onto a fixation on him through this all,
though where Jean's problem right now is he's being too aggressive. Her
she's
problem
not
is
being aggressive enough.
Yeah, she just will not come out and just say it. In part because she knows he's got feelings for
Weiss.
Yeah. So, and we went to they kind of hinted at the idea that he thinks she'll just have guys falling all over her, and
He's just like,
she
yeah.
says you'd be surprised. So
These guys are intimidated.
it could be. Famous people do tend to have that effect on people. Same thing, just like with Weiss. Weiss has that issue. Well, almost the opposite issue. Weiss says she's got the issue of people just literally falling all over her, and she can't sort it all out.
Right.
Who's actually being honest or not. So it's almost like they have the inverse problems for similar reasons. Because they're both well-known individuals.
One has power, the other is powerful.
For different reasons, yeah. One is well-known because she's rich and her father is famous, and Pyrrha is just famous for being a very well-known, very talented athlete.
Yeah, power is a fickle thing.
Well.
And then we get the last little bit with the villains, where they go over what Mercury was doing, like we said with the.
Yeah, they recap the whole episode more or less.
Basically, and I will make one. They refer to her as the Invincible Girl.
Mm-hmm.
I believe like the Invincible Man is a nickname Achilles had in the Legends.
Yeah.
So that was just another little reference.
Well, the whole thing with Achilles was being dipped in the river. His mother held his ankle, and that was his only weak point. Aside from that, he was
his heel,
invincible.
Yeah. So, and then obviously Cinder has some sort of plan for. Mercury seems to think that she imply that he thinks Cinder is could easily beat Pyrrha, which, given how good of a fighter Pyrrha is, that we've seen so far,
says something about Cinder.
Or at least Mercury's impression of Cinder up to this point.
Yeah,
and
like I said, she's got a bunch of really powerful henchmen, and all of them fear her.
Yep. And she basically said something about it's not about being them, or being more powerful. It's about taking away what power they have.
I wonder if her power is the ability to stop free will.
Mind control of some sort? You mean?
No, like.
Or like hypnotism?
Like pacifism. Like power, like you are, if I can convince you to just hold off on your attack or don't attack me.
To cause somebody to just shut down and just.
Yeah, to pacify them.
Okay.
Keep them from. You
So
could
it's
get them.
different than pacifism, but.
Like they are. Like,
pacification is what you're talking about.
Like, that's her power, is pacifist. She can make you just. And through that, you can be heavily influenced.
Oh, excuse me.
Or at the same time, easily intimidated.
The one last thing I'll note at the end. It's really hard to see on screen because of how thin it is. Did you see what Cinder was doing as the episode ended?
No.
She had something in her hand and she lifted it up. Nope. She was holding a needle. She appears to be threading something with a needle.
Okay. I have no context.
So, doing some sort of sewing. She's
Yep.
making something. So,
On the next time of Dragon Ball Z. Anything else for this episode?
oh, no, I think we pretty much covered it for this one.
I am
It's pretty
pumped
straight.
for the next one. Got to pump
Indeed.
it up.
All right, that's it. Then, if you guys like what we're doing, go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, bell for
All that
notifications.
good stuff.
Get with us on Twitter at InfoConfused, and you can find our podcast on SoundCloud, Stitcher, and Spotify, as well as YouTube. We have been Informed and Confused. I'm Alan.
And I'm Bobby.
See you later.